I am not, I am not, I am not. It is said that 10 years prior to his nailing of his 95 Theses on the church door of Wittenberg, that the young Martin Luther had what is described as a fit in the choir at the monastery in which he found himself. Three of Luther's contemporaries say that upon hearing the reading of a particular portion of Mark chapter 9, specifically the part of Mark 9 where Jesus cures a boy with a spirit, it is said that Luther fell on the ground like somebody who was a raving lunatic. And they said that he roared like a bull. In Latin, non sum, non sum, non sum. Translated, I am not, I am not, I am not. For many centuries, there have been a whole lot of debates around Luther and his fit in the choir. Did it actually happen? If it did happen, then why? What caused it to happen? Was Luther possessed? A lot of his later opponents would obviously say yes, that was the case, that the fit in the choir was born out of a demon possession that maybe perhaps they felt still existed, leading Luther to do the work that he did in the church. But then again, could it be that he was responding to criticisms that he was experiencing at that point in his life because his father and others perhaps could be rather critical of the young Luther and the decisions that he was making in his life? Perhaps these divine convulsions that he was experiencing in the choir loft were some type of response to his father and those pressures. There have been several breakdowns of Luther's fit in the choir from a lot of different perspectives, including a psychoanalysis, a very famous psychoanalysis done by a very famous psychologist by the name of Erik Erikson. Erik Erikson suggested that what was happening with Luther with his fit in the choir was actually what we would call an identity crisis. Actually, it is Erik Erikson who coins the phrase identity crisis. And that's what Erikson seems to point to here with Luther, that Luther at this point in his life was having an identity crisis due to several factors that were very prevalent in his life up to that point. These factors added to the call that he is feeling from God. And Erikson suggests that Luther responded the way that he did upon hearing the gospel because of this inner conflict that he was experiencing and trying to determine who is Martin Luther. Here we are 500 years later, and the vast majority of us know who Martin Luther is. But we only know who he is because he first discovered who he was. And sometimes we only discover who we are by finding out who we are not. Long before Luther, there was a man sent from God. His name was John. John came to testify to the light, although John himself was not the light. And as John went about his work of preparing the way for the one who was the way, the religious authorities began to question him as to his identity. Who are you? They asked. Are you the Messiah? I am not. Well then, are you Elijah? I am not. Are you the prophet? I am not. I am not. I am not. I am not. Then who are you? They ask. It is at this point that John reveals who he is. After all the I am nots, John reveals who he is. After first knowing who he is not, John can say with confidence that he is the one who has come to prepare the way for the one who is greater. John the Baptist knew who he was. He knew he was not God. He was not the Messiah. But he still had a big part to play in the story of God being revealed to the world. My question for all of you is, who are you? Who are you? Who are you in the ongoing story of God being revealed in this world? Who are you? Are you Martin Luther? Are you John the Baptist? Are you the Messiah? You are not. You are not. You are not. Yet you still have an important and necessary role to play in the ongoing story that is God entering the world. The question is, what is your part? What part do you have to play in preparing the way? But here's the thing, here's the catch. I assure you, you can never fully understand your role as a servant of God in the world if you are having an identity crisis. And so many of us, for so many reasons outside of ourselves and untended to reasons within ourselves, so many of us are having an identity crisis. You must know who you are to know what it is that God would have you to do. And to find out who you are, to be fully confident in who you are, and who you are as a child of God, unique, spectacular, beautifully made. To find out who you are, tending to the vast acreage of your soul is absolutely necessary for that true identity to be revealed. You are not Martin Luther. You are not John the Baptist. But you better believe that both of them spent a lot of time, a lot of intentional time tending to their inner selves so that they could find out who they are not, and so they could find out who they are. So I implore you, take some time, some real intentional time to tend to your soul. Let's start for just the next couple of weeks. Sit in silence. Pray. Read. Reflect. Go and experience creation. Do some soul tending stuff. Do it intentionally we'll start with just these next couple of weeks. and see if God reveals anything new. Anything new to you about you. Anything new to you about you and your relationship with God. See if God will do it. If you do your part. I bet God will.